Our scrims against Falcons are actually not bad. I, s- I- I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought they would be better. I think Europe does not have a high chance of winning this LAN. So let's start off with the package itself. I think it's absolutely dog shit. I think that skin is the third worst or the third best skin in the shop behind the Porsche skins and also the ice cream venture skin. That's a purple skin. It's not even a legendary skin. I think that skin's better than that garbage they put out. Being on Valiant, being on the bottom two team and having zero expectations from our org was definitely disheartening.
I'm here with Lyar, support player of M80. A week before we start out with OWCS DreamHack, and I thought we would catch up a little bit, see how your preparation is going, how you think you guys will do, how strong the teams are, and also talk a little bit about the cultural context, or rather the context that this competition happens in with other events on the horizon. So I guess we should start out with talking about the preparation. Like, how many blocks are you running right now? How is preparation going? Do you feel accurately or aptly prepared for the event?
I mean, I'd say that we're feeling pretty confident going to the event. We're scrimming at least, well, we're scrimming like 2 blocks a day. We're not doing 3. And yeah, I'd say going into the event, we're actually feeling pretty confident. I think that this meta is actually pretty good for us. I think that it kind of lets our I won't say that. I think this is not a bad meta for us, and I think we're feeling pretty good going into the event.
Are you strategizing? Because like what I'm feeling is you don't want to give your strategies away, what kind of comps you're running.
Yeah,
And from
yeah,
Christopher, I know there's a lot of diversity so far in terms of the metas that everyone is running.
yeah.
Christopher had an interesting theory, and I like to think what you believe, because I'm not sure if I'm buying it yet. Christopher told me that currently there's a lot of comp diversity, and we've seen that before in the Overwatch League, that a lot of people just run their stuff, but as the week progresses and they start losing scrims, they usually converge towards like one meta comp more and more, except the hardcore teams like, the Spitfire back in the day. So do you feel that's true? Do you think that Christopher says everyone will stick to their individual meta compositions, unlike Overwatch League where it converged? So do you think we will get that flavor at Dallas, or do you think the convergence is just about to happen?
I agree with what he said. I mean, I think at the start of any meta, you're gonna see people like playing a bunch of different stuff, but like as like stuff close in, people are gonna probably start to mirror because like it just feels better. But I actually do think that we're gonna see a lot of different stuff because like a team like Students of the Game, like they've already publicly like said like they're basically there for vacation. If they win anything, it's gonna be like it's gonna be nice. So I think they're gonna go there and just play like weird stuff, and like I think that's smart. I think that they should do that. It's gonna be fun to watch, and I think that like obviously SSG is probably gonna do something similar. Like they've always like been known for like playing like off meta stuff. So yeah, I think that you'll definitely see teams not just sticking to like one meta. Um and I can tell you, like, I've played against Toronto, I've played against Falcons, like they're playing different stuff too. Like, and I consider them probably like they're definitely in the top 4 realm of like Crazy Raccoons, them, Toronto, and honestly I think us. So I think a lot of teams are just playing different stuff right now.
There's this rumor, or rather the showcase of the Crazy Raccoons ball comp, right? If that was, let's say Crazy Raccoons like hits the tarmac in America, plays the first couple of scrims with ball, dominates, that's not a comp that anyone's going to copy, right? Like, you're not just going to pull out a ball comp.
Okay. If if ball for whatever reason works, then I know for a fact Toronto will play it because they were trying to make ball work before the ball changes.
Right.
So they will definitely play ball if they think ball is good. I don't think actually Falcons definitely could play ball because they have a really good trace. I mean, their whole team's insane. Like,
Yeah.
let's just be honest. But I don't know if ball's that good. I don't. I'll tell you right now, if ball's good, we are not playing ball. Like we will find a way. But I think Toronto would play it if they think ball is good. I think they're ball believers, but I don't think they've played any ball against us. So, I mean, again, we'll just have to see.
How do you like the meta right now?
Trying to compare it to last meta, like the Orisa meta. I mean, anything's like really better than that. I mean, I won't say this meta is like really, really different. And like I think kind of you just change the tank and maybe one of the DPS, and that's basically what you're playing. But this meta is not bad. I think it's definitely one of the Overwatch metas of all time. It's not my favorite, but it's not. It, I don't hate it nearly as much as last patch. I'll say that.
Sure. When are you guys flying out?
We're flying out on the 29th, which is Wednesday, I think. I think we're flying later in the day.
Right.
And we're getting to the nice hotel provided by whoever's providing it. I will say, me and Gator were talking, and we actually feel like this event looks like it's gonna be like run very well. Like they
Okay.
sent out like a thing. Oh, it said non-disclosure. But you know what? Like I didn't leak anything, but it looks like it's gonna be run well.
Okay. So I think like that's safe. Just saying
Yeah.
like that you receive something is not necessarily NDA material or breaking, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's what do you expect the stage to look like and like the area to be like to play there? I think that is that one of the. I guess you would have to play it offline and collegiate, right? Well, did you play offline before?
Like LAN?
Yeah.
No, we went to the place, but we still played like on the servers.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually never played on like LAN client. So
Oh,
if we're playing
right.
on LAN client, that's actually like pretty interesting. Like there is definitely a difference from playing on online to like even playing on like tournament client for
Mm.
Overwatch League last year. Like you could tell a difference. Like when you would shoot the training bots, like the shots would register faster. Like it sounds different.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume it's gonna probably be even like better on LAN. For the stage, I mean, I went to the Arlington Esports Arena, which I actually went to as a fan back in 2020, and I recently went there for a collegiate LAN.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's probably not going to be as cool of a stage as that, but I still hope it's a really like nice stage. I don't know if DreamHack, because I know DreamHack has like multiple games. I don't know if Overwatch is going to have its like own place or if like the main stage is rotated through different games. So I just hope that I get to play in front of a crowd, and I mean it's a nice setup. I have some mouse room, some keyboard space. I'm not hitting UV mid game, so that's all I can hope for.
For sure. Now, okay, so you see the bracket. What's your first reaction when you see that you probably have the, if it's not the strongest team, which it probably should be argued to be, it's the second strongest team in many people's eyes, and we can talk about if that's a perception you share. But just on paper, what's your first reaction when you see, okay, Crazy Raccoon for first round?
Well, hold on, let me actually pull this bracket up real quick. Because yes, we do play Crazy Raccoons first, and I will not say that I would rather not be students of the game right now.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's no way around it. I think Crazy Raccoons are the best team in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You look at their roster, and I mean, they have Lip, Shu, Chorong, he's saying Max jump in, like they're great players and like they beat Falcons convincingly 2 times, so they're definitely a good team. I don't think that they're unbeatable by any means, and if they're playing ball and ball's not good and like they keep playing ball, I think that there's definitely a chance of beating them. But nonetheless, like even if we are to lose to Crazy Raccoons, I'm very confident in making lower bracket run. I I feel like we are definitely a very good team, and I like our chances no matter what.
I think like from what I understand how scrims work right now, you guys are also probably scrimming European teams. Is that right?
Um, Actually, no. We have not scrimmed ints for weeks, and we scrimmed Space Station twice. But it's been a while since we've scrimmed Space Station as well. And I
How
mean,
come?
I don't know. I think like we we booked a bunch of scrims with Falcons because they're already here. They came like really early to boot camp. So we wanted to scrim against like them a lot. And I think it's just easier scrimming against Falcons in Toronto rather than like scrimming against SSG like on ping. And I guess Gator just valued the scrims with Falcons in Toronto more. Like I really don't know why we aren't scrimming them, but I mean, I'm not going to complain scrimming against Falcons.
How are the scrims against Falcons going?
They're actually not bad. I thought so. I know that you said earlier that people are saying that Crazy Raccoons is the second. Are you implying that Falcons is the best?
I think okay, so Falcons. You're right that they lost twice to Crazy Raccoons. They also beat them in one series, right? Like I think they won the regional Korean league, and then they went to the Asian LAN and lost there, right? So
Yeah.
theoretically, yeah, it's. I mean, based on the results, you just straight up have to say Crazy Raccoons.
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess they wouldn't be too far away from each other.
Okay. Yeah. So our scrims against Falcons are actually not bad. I s- I- I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought they would be better.
Okay.
Not saying that they're bad. Like they're still a really good team. But I mean, when you see names of those calibers, I mean, you have basically you have 3/5 of the Atlanta Reign at proper and Smurf and Hanbin, and you know these everyone thought this team was going to be lights out, like dominant. I definitely think that um they're beatable, and I honestly mean that. And for Falcons and Crazy Raccoons, like I think like Falcons beat them at first because they already had a core of, like I said, the Atlanta Reign, so they should have been like a better team already. But I think Crazy Raccoons over time has actually probably had time to become like an actual team. They're getting chemistry with each other, and I think that we saw that in that second tournament that they looked a lot better as a team, and they beat Falcons because of it. Because I think like both teams have insane players, but maybe Lips the deciding factor. I don't know.
Hmm. Do you think there's maybe reason to believe that they're not performing at the top of their game right now, either because they don't play scrims to win them, but to improve, or I mean, much more reasonably, they could still be suffering from a lot of jet lag, right? So, um, do you think there's reason to believe that their performance will pick up for the tournament?
Um, I mean, yeah, they could probably pick it up. I've never experienced jet lag, so I can't really speak for that. But some things, some things can't be like I don't want to like, how do I say this? Like some of their problems don't look like mechanical. Some things
Cognitive?
just don't look like yeah, it's just like some of their problems just maybe look like a teamwork thing sometimes. Like I don't know, like they're good players and I mean they have moments of like excellence, but sometimes they'll like derp out. But I think every team does that. I mean, maybe they're not taking it seriously. I can't speak for that. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe when we get towards like actual land time, I think everyone will be taking it seriously. So you can say that maybe they're not taking stuff seriously. But they also might be suffering from like losing like in that Asian tournament and coming over here and like I don't know how their scrims are going against Toronto, but I hear like they're pretty close as well. And maybe like they could also be getting tilted at the fact that like they feel like they should be like really beating some of these teams and like beating themselves up. I'm not entirely sure. Um, so yeah.
So I asked Christopher to give me like a percentage chance for each region to win the major, right? And now you don't have to focus on either Crazy Raccoons or Falcons, but what do you think the chances are that each region is going to take it home?
So I'll start off with the region with the least chance. I think Europe does not
Oh,
have a high chance of winning this LAN.
okay.
I'm not even saying that because of like our scrim results. I just have not heard good things about the Europe region right now. I know Twisted Minds had that thing with KSA.
Sure.
He left, and I'm also hearing that someone else might not be showing up to the LAN.
Mhm.
So obviously Twisted Minds are already a non-contender in my eyes. Int, I think, are probably the best European team right now, from what I've heard. Um, I just don't know if that team can beat Koreans respectfully. And SSG, I just have heard are like kind of struggling, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on with them. So I think that Europe definitely has the least amount of chance. If I had to put a chance, I'd give them like a 20, like a
Okay.
20%, maybe 30. If SSG can get back to their form prior, I'd definitely say that they'd have a higher chance. But SSG struggling, I think, hurts Europe's chances. NA, um, I'd give us like a 30 or 40%. I think Toronto and us definitely have upset chances, and I think we could definitely beat the Korean teams on given days. But I mean, I have to still give Korea the edge. Like they still are the favorites, and I mean, I'd probably give them like 60-70% chance of winning that that doesn't add up to 100, guys,
Yes.
by
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. It's all good.
But it's
You mentioned
I'm
Rangers. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I still think, I mean, Raccoons in my eyes are still the clear favorites um to win. Obviously, we aren't scrimming them because we play them, but I still think they're an insane team. But um uh, I really feel like the Korean and us in Toronto are probably top four.
All right. Now, all right. So there's another question mark, I would say, in terms of how the LAN, or rather, yeah, how operations will function. And it's about the
Hmm.
prize pool. Now, Blizzard has come out, has announced that the Azure Flame Hanzo package, 25% caveated post-tax platform, blah blah blah, will be subtracted. But yet, like generally speaking, 1/4 of the prize pool will go towards the prize pool for OWCS. So what do you think that number could be? Like, what kind of price pool are you expecting, or what range, if you want? And are you satisfied with what they offered, what they put into that package?
So let's start off with the package itself. I think it's absolutely dog shit. I think that skin is the third worst or the third best skin in the shop behind the Porsche skins and also the ice cream venture skin. That's a purple skin. It's not even a legendary skin. I think that skin's better than that garbage they put out. Um, I don't understand. Out of any skin you decided to give, you gave it to Hanzo and not to a character like Diva, Tracer, Genji, Mercy, Lucio. Give it to something with a big fan base or at least a relevant character. Why give it for such a niche character? And not only that, you made the skin is not good. At least make the skin good. I think they should have tried extra hard for the skin. Maybe even should have been a mythic skin. And I think it's a very big letdown that this is the skin we got. Um, oh, sorry, the lights cut off. There's motion sensors. And like, I'm just disappointed. Like, I could keep going, but I feel like I've gotten my point across. This skin is an utter disappointment, and uh, only 25% of that goes to the pool. For how bad it is, it should be 50. But if we're gonna talk about how much do we think that the prize pool is gonna be, I actually pulled up the World Cup because that was also crowdfunded. The prize pool for that was 374,000, and there was also 16 teams there. So if we cut that in half, the prize splits would probably look a lot more generous for at least like everyone involved. 300 something thousand. I still think that I don't know if we'll get that amount. Because I believe that the bundle that they released in was a lot more. It was way more worth it. You got a lot more skins, and you also got like the player icons or stuff. So I think player or people had a lot more incentive to buy those packages. But if I had to say, I'm gonna guess 247,369.
Nice.
And if we make close to what World Cup made, I'll be ecstatic. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I honestly, we should have taken some of the Porsche profits and gave it to the world or to this tournament because those skins were way cooler.
Yeah. Do you think it would have provided some security and some planning potential if Blizzard had communicated at least the floor? You know, like the price pool cannot be lower than, I don't know, let's say 100, so it's at least higher than the regional price pools for each stage, right? Something like this, right? Should there have been a floor communicated in advance?
Um, I mean, I won't sit here and say if that prize pool is less money than what we make at our regional tournaments, then that's just they failed. And if that's the case, if we have that low of a prize pool for the first Overwatch major in this new ecosystem, Overwatch is dead. Like the game will die, and at that point, they're like people should be going to different games or going to collegiate or doing whatever. Um, I probably would say that they should have. I think that they should have put up some of their own money and then said, "Hey, we're also going to do community funding on top of this." So let's say if they put in 100 grand of their own money, and then we do this crowdfunding, and they only raise 150,000. $250,000 is still a lot of money for 8 teams to split. Um, Obviously, probably not as big as the midseason madness last year, but I don't think we should be expecting those type of numbers, at least for now. But yeah, I mean, if the prize pool or if the crowdfunding does not work out, and I think yeah that it's not going to be good for the game, and they probably should have put up some money up front.
For sure. Now, you were one of the Overwatch League pro players. I had it I would say, unique experience and how you experienced Overwatch League in your time there. Because I think for some Overwatch League players, Overwatch League is being in a team house in the Hollywood Hills, making six figures and playing in an offline stage, every weekend in the Blizzard Arena. For others, it's playing from home on a much, much lower salary and not having in a team house and communicating with teammates over Discord or whatever. So it feels like you had a different Overwatch League experience for having come in so late and having been on the Valiant. How does your experience compare to Overwatch League right now? Like, how would you describe, what it's like being on M80 and playing on OWCS and the Faceit League and going up to EWC, and Overwatch League?
So Overwatch League obviously did not have the experience that, I think every player dreams of. Being on Valiant, being on a bottom two team and having zero expectations from our org was definitely disheartening. And not being able to at least like see my teammates, made that season hard. But I'm still grateful for the fact that I even got to be in Overwatch League and be in those type of matches. Even compared to now, I get to be on M80 and play with players that I wouldn't have gotten to play with in the Overwatch League. I'm just being honest. Like, I have Pelly, Happy, UV, Hawk, all insane players, and I definitely am grateful for that. But I think I would be lying to myself if I said that I enjoyed this format more. I don't enjoy playing 11 Swiss rounds. It's unnecessary. How the second and first place team, or even third place at that rate, need to play another Swiss bracket against like bad teams. It's just a waste of people's time and practice. The actual games themselves, I mean, like it feels more like contenders back rather than Overwatch League. And I think a lot of people definitely agree that even being on Valiant and playing in Overwatch League at least felt more rewarding than the format we're playing in now. And I mean, I can't think anyone else would disagree with me. If they do, I'd love to hear why. But I definitely enjoyed Overwatch League, and that was Overwatch League at its worst as well. Luckily, I did get to have this team experience of like playing with M80 here, so that definitely makes up for it. And I did live in a team house prior to Overwatch League while in contenders, so I did get to experience like camaraderie and living with people. But unfortunately, it wasn't in Overwatch League. But like I said, I still appreciate the Valiant for giving me a chance and being in Owls last year. So
now, theoretically, if you look at the year-long calendar, right, the first international LAN is coming up, and in the not too distant future, there's going to be EWC, so which has a lot of prize pool, has a lot of the best teams from around the globe. So that's a really important tournament in comparison. I think it's fair to say, especially given that we're not going to have a World Cup, Overwatch World Cup at BlizzCon, because there's not going to be a BlizzCon, that right now is probably the most meaningful Overwatch is going to be for the next couple of weeks, right? Like the investment, personal investment, like what's on the line, the meaning behind it should feel at the highest point. Do you think that do you feel something like that? And do you fear that after EWC is done, there will be like this downward slope towards the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, at least for me, I've been thinking to myself, like, we're going from Dallas straight into Faceit matches that will qualify us to EWC, and then that big prize pool. So we're kind of packed right now with tournaments, and it definitely feels more meaningful to play right now. And then, like you said, like after that, it seems like there's going to be a pretty huge break It kind of feels like how Owl did last year, where we played 8 games and then we had a month and a half break. Of like I don't even think I scrimmed for like 2 to 3 weeks during that time. So like, yeah, it feels like right now is definitely the time to grind and care the most. But after that, I mean, if these tournaments don't go well, like I don't know what's gonna happen in those next tournaments. Like I don't know how many players will stay around. Like I feel like you might see a lot of retirement after these tournaments are played. Um, unless, everything goes well and, like maybe some orgs come in, start paying some decent money. Um, not like old Overwatch League, but closer to that minimum. And I think that would give incentive for some players to stay. But I think if the next 6 months are anything like these first 6 months, I think you're definitely going to see a downwards trend.
Do you have a gut feeling what would be needed in terms of viewership for both of these events, for organizations to stay interested, maybe for some to pick it up? Like, I mean, okay, so silver lining being, like, for instance, Andy Miller's signaled that the shock might be coming back and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Certainly an interesting situation, given that, as we said, most of the important matches or games are soon to be over. But do you have a gut feeling what kind of viewership we would require in order to attract more of these high caliber organizations?
Definitely over 100,000. I think anything below that is definitely not good. um, or at least not warranted to get orgs. I mean, like if we get anything below like 60, 70,000, like I don't think that's. I mean, like that's basically what Owl viewership was getting last season. Oh, not even. I mean, like those were like good matches,
Mm-hmm.
but like I think on the average, I was saying around like 20,000, maybe 30,000. So I think if we want some orgs to come in, we're gonna have to put up some big numbers. Like it needs to be close to 100,000 and like hopefully more. And I think being on Twitch will definitely. Is it gonna be on Twitch?
I think
I
it's
assume it'll be.
multi-platform, yeah.
Yeah, so like Twitch, YouTube, I definitely think that it can get over 100,000 if it's multi-platform as well. So I think we definitely need to get more than 100,000, and like I think I'm being generous for that. But I'd say like anything below like 50 is bad, like really bad.
Do you have any moonshot scenarios in mind? Like, one thing that's looming like in the back of my mind when I think about like what potential outs are there for the last or later half of the season is like, it feels like China is about to get back in some way, right? Like, at least they're going to have a slot at EWC. People are picking up teams once again. We know that there's a new deal being made. There's potential. There are tournament organizers in China to organize those. Maybe, very maybe, and once again, based on no information, but that could be something that they also host international tournaments outside the OWCS, right? Outside, like much like Face It, as a third-party program there. Do you think, like, could China save this esports once again?
Oh, I didn't really hear anything about that,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I guess if there's people that want to invest in the game and like there's a league or like some type of like way that you can actually make a living, then sure. Um, I mean, I definitely think that Face It is doing a. I honestly think Face It isn't doing a bad job. They have been receptive to feedback, and they have been like pretty transparent with what they want to do. It just, I feel like it needs more time, but also at the same time, we don't have a lot of time.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what it would take for this esport to like get its feet back on the ground besides like some type of league and like I, it's hard to say. It
Look,
really is. I don't know if there's a right answer.
the thing is, like, maybe it's a little unfair to ask a player for the solutions of,
Yeah.
but the what I'm getting at is, and what I'm trying to get a feeling for is where your mind is at in terms of your own Overwatch career, after this high
hmm
point, what you're going to consider. Is there like a world where you are just going to play out collegiate and that's that?
Um, there's definitely a world there. Um, I mean, obviously, if I'm signed to an org and getting paid, like it would also be hard to give that up, especially where just the game is right now. Like, uh, it's especially because I got rent.
Hmm.
It's nice having some money to pay rent. So I'm not entirely sure. I think that I definitely, if I don't deem this worth it anymore, I definitely would just retire and just finish collegiate and play for Winthrop and get my degree in cybersecurity. But if I still enjoy playing the game and I'm signed to an org, I'd definitely consider keep playing. But um, like I said, I think I'll probably just make my decision up after like Saudi.
Did public figures, let's say like Gunba, that have played this and did the math and then decided to retire, that retirement, do you think, did that get a couple of thoughts going in yourself, and do you think that rattled through the rest of the scene, especially in the West?
Now, I mean, I think everybody's aware that this is a sinking ship, and um, Gumba retiring, like I was like, oh, Gumba retired
Mhm.
finally. Like he finally did it. I mean, he'll probably be back within a month or two. Like, but uh, no, I mean, it, I mean, I'm just doing it because like I have like a sort of, I, I'm really not sacrificing anything. Like I'm a player that has it really good right now.
Mhm.
With being on M80 and having Winthrop and having an actual facility. So I have no, I guess, downside besides just my own time, but I'm also doing school, so I don't feel like I'm really wasting my time right now. It's just something that I'm already doing.
Are you taking a full course load for the semester?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Fair
and
play, yeah.
and yeah, and right now our semester's done. Like I'm in summer. I'm actually gonna take a summer class just to get ahead, but yeah, I mean, as a college student, also like to play in collegiate, you have to take a full course schedule.
Right.
So, um, definitely when I was doing school and scrimming with M80, especially towards like finals, that was kind of hard
Mhm.
because I had a lot of stuff I had to study for and do final projects, write papers. I had like a 10-page paper I had to do. So that was hard on top of scrimming 4 hours a day. But now that I have nothing going on, like might as well scrim 4 hours a day, go get a free trip to Dallas, Saudi, potentially Sweden. So definitely, for me, it doesn't make sense to quit just yet.
Sweet. Yeah, no, especially if you're still basically barely being slowed down in your pursuit of your degree. I think that's probably the dream in that regard, right? I guess then
Yeah.
let's say as a last question, what would you consider to be a success for M80 to finish at in Dallas?
Um, a success. I definitely think top four is like I really believe that we should be top four no matter what. Um, but definitely beating Falcons, Toronto, or Raccoons at that LAN would definitely just add like a cherry on top. Um, because I think that on any given day we can beat those teams. Like we saw in our upper finals, uh, bracket versus Toronto, when we beat them 3-1. Fortunately, we did lose to them 4-1, but I still think that this team, like when we're playing well, like we can beat good, like these quote unquote best teams. So I definitely think that top 4 is where I think that we'll end up. Now, where we end up in that top 4 depends on how we play. But anything top 4 and above to me is, I think, a success.
Awesome. Then wish you the best of luck in your preparation, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you.